Hello and welcome back to that handicapping show at bloodhorse.com. I'm Tom LaMarra, joined by the lovely and talented Claire Novak. We're on site at Santa Anita Park for the Breeders' Cup World Championships. In this segment, we'll be looking at 4 races on the Friday and Saturday card, and then we'll come back with a separate show on the Breeders' Cup Classic. Claire, we're going to start out with the filly and mare sprint, which drew a really good field, but does have a very, very heavy favorite in Groupie Doll, who you've been watching very closely since she arrived here at Santa Anita. Why don't you talk a little bit about her? She is my pick as well.
Well, Groupie Dolls just looks phenomenal here on the track, and she has that presence about her right now where you just know the horse knows she's good. She's won 4 in a row. Her last race she won by 6.5 lengths, and she really is just a phenomenal horse in a really good form right now, leading perfectly up to this race. So I don't think that you're going to see anybody be able to go ahead and beat her, and she will be the favorite, but she deserves to be.
Yeah, she is 4 for 4 since adding blinkers for trainer Buff Bradley. And the good thing about her is she actually prefers to go the 7 furlongs of this race rather than 6. And she does have early speed. We've seen her win the Humana Distaff very, very close to the pace through quick fractions. I think she wins the race from either on the pace or off the pace, and I think she'll be pretty tough to beat.
Yeah, when you see a horse come into a place like this and just settle in the way she has, you know, she's just looking around in the mornings, but she just has that bearing about her that she's very comfortable here and she looks ready for business.
All right. We're going to look at the sprint, which is also on the Saturday card. Once again, a full field. This one's a lot tougher, I think, and maybe hard to pick a favorite in this race. But Claire came up with a couple horses that she likes, so why don't you go first on that one?
Well, I like Coyle. I mean, he won last time out the Santa Anita Sprint Championships, and ever since he's come back, he's been a good horse. He's been right there. You know, this is a race that I really don't know an extremely large amount about, but I would say Amazombi, the defending champ, is somebody that you're going to have to take a look at. And then somebody has asked me about the Lumber Guy who won the Vosburg, so I would keep an eye on him. And then the horse that I've heard a little bit about that I don't really know very much about is Smiling Tiger. And I've heard the connections are very high on that horse. So those are a couple that I would look at, but again, not one of my races where I'm extremely well
Smiling
versed.
Tiger is a very good California-based sprinter, so obviously he would get some attention. I've centered on Triniberg in this race. He's 15 to 1 in the morning line. I don't know if we'll get that price, but ran a great race in the Gallant Bob at Parks. The track was a little funky. He rated off a very quick pace, but only about like a half length off, made his move and just got caught by a horse that went from last to first. Willie Martinez spoke to him the other day. He's very, very confident. Triniberg drew the 9 post, which is good because a lot of the speed is to his outside. I think if he gets a good trip, he should be right there. Claire's favorite race, the mile, which is the turf mile, of course, is up next. She's been tracking a few of these horses very, very closely, and I know who she's going to pick, but I'll let her tell you.
Wise Dan. Dun-dun-dun. Everybody loves this horse. Well, except, I guess, the people who have to run against him. But, you know, he's so versatile. He's having such a great year. His connections have been pointing for the Breeders' Cup. And I just, you know, he seems to be the kind of horse who really is a freak. And this race will tell us if he is or not. Animal Kingdom coming in, first start since February 18th. Obviously, there's a little bit of a question there. And speaking of obviously, that's a horse that Mike Mitchell has that I went by the barn to see for the first time today because they brought the horses in from Hollywood Park yesterday a little later. So I haven't had a chance to see him. He went out super early this morning, but I've heard good things about, obviously. The European horse, X Celebration, everybody is of varying opinions on him. Either you think he's amazing because he was second to Frankel 4 times and third to him once, or you think he's really not that great because he couldn't beat Frankel, and he has a quick turnaround from the race that he won over there. 2 weeks, he had to ship, and I'm not sure about the ground. He ran over yielding ground last time out, which is a little bit harder. So those are a couple, and then you have to pay attention to Freddie Head with Moonlight Cloud, the filly. He said in the race where she finished 4th to X Celebration that if they had gotten a better trip, he would have beaten that horse. So if Freddie Head thinks he can beat X Celebration, I don't think X Celebration is really that big of a deal.
All right, well, Claire's got me covered in this race. Wise Dan, Moonlight Cloud, and X Celebration. Those are the 3 that I'm going to use in the mile. And finally, for this segment, we're going to look at the Ladies Classic, which Could be one of the best races ever run at a Breeders' Cup, or at least we hope it turns out to be. Exceptional field. I think there are only 8 entered, but you couldn't ask for more than this. Who do you like?
Well, I'm going to go with Awesome Feather, and that is a little bit of a variance from my girl Royal Delta. But the thing about Royal Delta is you don't know which one is going to show up. Which Royal Delta is it going to be? And did she run too big of a race last time out when, you know, she won going away? I love Royal Delta as far as just her class, her ability when she shows up on the day. Awesome Feather has never been beaten. And so you have to take a look at that 10 for 10 and really think. And watching this filly train, if you look at her and you look at her exercise rider and the way that he rides her, she trains like a monster and has been all summer long. And Chad Brown, you know, obviously very high on her. But those are the 2 that I would take a look at. My Miss Aurelia / Questing, I'm going to go with My Miss Aurelia because of the jocks. I think that Questing jock has a little less experience. And then just a shout out to my girl class included from Emerald Downs.
Interesting horse.
Yeah,
Interesting
take a
horse.
look at that. That's a very, you know, I mean, she'll be a long shot, but hey, you got to take a chance in these races. And her breeder is bred from 5 mares. He's managed to get a horse to come to the Ladies Classic,
All right.
so that's pretty good.
Okay. Tough race to pick. I did come down to Awesome Feather because I saw her work on the track. Looked great in just an easy gallop. She's a fantastic looking horse. 2 long shots that I'm going to throw out and probably use. One of them is Include Me Out, locally based filly. Should be primed for a pretty strong effort here. She likes the track. And actually the pace may play to her advantage. And I think Grace Hall will probably slip away at a price. Strong race in the Indiana Oaks. She's due to step up big time. And so we'll see how that one goes. But an extremely strong edition of the Breeders' Cup Ladies Classic. For Claire, I'm Tom. This has been That Handicapping Show. We'll see you next time.